is there. Mr. Indrajit Paul is a chief of the Tata Pellet plant. I have had the great privilege of listening to both the speakers from Tata Steel earlier, including Mr. Indrajit Paul. He is a metallurgical engineer from NIT and also a post-graduation in a very famous management institute called XIM. He has been working with Tata Steel in the blast furnaces for about 10 years, 3 years as a technology function, and now last 8 years, he is heading the 7 million ton pellet plant of Tata Steel. Tata Steel, as you all know, is kind of a torch bearer, if I may say so, for all metallurgical operations. Even though I was in Steel Authority for 30 years, we used to look up to Tata Steel for any technical advice. And I'm very grateful to Tata Steel because in the past, all the seminars of PMAI, Tata Steel has sent not only speakers, they have sent people to attend. So with these words, I request Mr. Indrajit Paul to share his thoughts, particularly on the blast furnaces. I'm very keen to know about the blast furnace used in pellets used in blast furnace. Thank you, Mr. Indrajit.
Thank you, Bhatnagar sir, and good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, please.
And my screen is visible? My screen is visible?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you. So once again, thank you to all of you, and thank you to Pellet Association of India for giving this platform to share their learnings. I will take it as a learning of working with pellets in the last 1 decade, and definitely in the industry of iron making for last 2 decades. It's a very important day for Indian industry because for it is today that our founder, Sri Jane Tata, was born. And for the industry, what he doesn't need any introduction. He found the equilibrium between the industry and the greenery, between the caring of employees and giving them a growth opportunity. He inspired us to all, and also balance the life and work, unleash the possibilities and realize our potentials, and finally make a positive impact into the nature. So with that small introduction, I would like to start my presentation. As a steel maker, traditionally, we are very comfortable working with sinter and lumps, and we operated the same way. And we mean that Tata Steel operated the same way in the last 7 decades of our operations. Just to mention that our first sinter plant came in 1958, and the other 3 came roughly 10-15 years in a gap of that. The 4th sinter plant that was there, which came in Jamshedpur works, was commissioned in 2008. But the 5th agglomeration unit was not a plant of a 6 million ton capacity. So here ushers the new change in agglomeration division of Tata Steel, where we moved from the decade-old usage of lumps and sinter to lump, sinter, and pellets, and fundamentally the changes in the iron making scenario. The fundamental aspect of BF portability and the efficiency is the warm feed that it requires. We should maximize on the agglomerates. There should be a proper balance between the sinter and the pellets, because fundamentally we have to neutralize the alumina that is associated with the Indian iron ore. For high driving blast furnaces, the raw material quality, especially the sinter RDI, the pellet, the strength, the coke properties have to be very stringent and very consistent. We should all work on the gangs and also fundamentally on the fine reduction in input to the blast furnaces. This is a very important slide for all of us to just have a look. I talked why to maximize the agglomerates. Is this so required? These red dots that you see in the 3 graphs that is there consist of the benchmark blast furnaces in the world. Along with them, I also put in some of the Indian blast furnaces, the so-called the big blast furnaces. And it's coming out very clearly from this graph because data reveals it all. The blast furnace needs a prepared burden to reduce the fuel rates. The blast furnace requires the prepared burden to improve the productivity, and blast furnace needs a prepared burden to make the customer happy with lower hot fuel cycle. So the overall verdict is very clear and loud that we, the iron makers, must see and listen and respond to the call. Else, we are out of the bunch. If you see the triangle on the right hand corner, most of our Indian blast furnaces are on that blue dot. And most of the European and so-called the big blast furnaces, high efficient blast furnaces, are on the bottom below, where they are having a very minimal lumps and with a combination of pellets and sinter. So this is not good for the company, not good for India, and not a sustainable operation. So what next? So yeah, so with sinter and lumps, we reach so far, because if you see if you just see this blue vertical bars, if the blast furnace efficiency parameters which stood on the wrong side, the energy parameters like the coke rates were running high, the coal injections were running low, the customers, the steel makers were not happy because we had a lot of silica in the hot metal. If you compare with the world, we were way behind, and the gap is very, very significant. It is not that our technologies, their technology was superior, but that just the right mix of input material were not there with us to deliver the high energy efficiency, the productivity, and the quality that is required as of now. Coupled with operational excellence and with increase in agglomerates, all the three productivity levers, efficiency, and the quality parameters moved in the right direction. Just please have a note that none of the mentioned benchmark blast furnaces were operating with high alumina load like the Indian blast furnaces. If you see the performance of the Indian blast furnaces or Tata Steel H and I furnaces, so they are moving along with the bandwagons and a significant achievement with this adverse Indian raw material because of the alumina part. Just to mention, all these parameters that I have enriched over here are basically yearly best. But if you talk about the monthly best, one of the blast furnaces with us has reached to a sub 300 coke rates, around 296. The coal injection, they have broken the barrier of 200. They have reached to 221. And silica in the hot metal has dropped to around less than 0.6, it is roughly 0.557. The advantage that we experience with pellets are here. With increase in pellets, we saw and observed there is reduction in coke rates. We also observed there's the increase in productions. There are several other advantages definitely, like the permeability control in the blast furnaces. It is important to note that the journey from 20%, which you had, if you see the graph below, in FY13, and as of now we are running very, very consistently, roughly at 40%, is not a cakewalk. And I can vouch you for this because the pellet quality is fundamentally important. The metallurgical property is very important for managing the high driving furnaces. The managing the pellets in the stockhouse is a big challenge, and the burden distribution's critical success factor is the entire story. Because of its high safe factor, the positioning of this particular material, that is the pellet, in the target ring within the blast furnace is very important. Because if you don't do it, you are lost. And if you do it, the blast furnace will sing a song, which I'm sure all of you love it, because it will have the melodies of the productivity, of efficiency, and of quality. While going further, we also have to think about how to digitize our own process. Because gone are the days where we are talking of smaller pellet plants and also variability in quality. But as of now, with the very high running rates of blast furnaces, they do require a very consistent quality. They require higher volumes. Therefore, the man dependency have to go and has to be moved into a corner where the digitalization takes over the whole operations. So we at Tata Steel tried to initiate one initiative which is called the digital twin, where the entire pellet process from the raw material to the screening process are digitally mapped into a digital twin. You can also play with it to understand if you tweak one parameter, what will be the final effect on the quality. If you change the overall fuel rate, if you change the pressure, what will be the final output in the quality and the productivity. This is helping us a lot in stabilizing the quality, maximize the productivity, and the blast furnace also loving it. Also along with that, we are also Sorry. Along with that, we know that we say that the green pelletization or the green pellet making is a matter of art, but also art varies from person to person, and the blast furnaces doesn't like it. So we try to do a auto operation of the green pelletizations, and so that we fundamentally ensure the repeatability of operations and fundamentally consistency and quality. This is a comb that we tried to incorporate. We all must have seen the elephant balls in our desks, and we also know that what is the bad impact of it on the quality. But do you know how to remove it? This is a disc comb that we have designed indigenously with the fundamental principle of a comb, of combing out the elephant balls from the system. Fundamentally, it also improved the overall size quality and also the shape factor of the pellets. And mind it, all these initiatives, the digital initiatives are totally homeborn, home initiated, and it is basically homemade. As we pelletize, all the disc has a different output, and there's a layering issue. The layering gives waviness. After that, it moves into the reciprocating conveyor, which also provides a waviness. But fundamental aspect of pellet quality and sinter quality is the bed profile, and which is a fundamental determinant to pellet quality. Therefore, you have to maintain a very stable bed profile. If you measure, then only you can improve. So effort of this particular issue is we have to put an index to this waviness number, and which is based on the laser triangulation technique and the image processing. With this, believe me, the bed profiling in Tata pellet plant has really almost become a flat. And with that, we are having a very better and consistent pellet quality, because the overall heat input and the heat distribution in the pellet bed has really evened out. The identifying of the damaged grade bars in the long chain is very, very tedious and unsafe, and also unergonomic. All of us do it, although in a difficult way. Through image analysis, the damaged grade bars are identified, and through this image analysis, the cards are also identified. So therefore, there is no manual intervention or person standing over there just beside the machine to identify which car is having which bad grade bars. The matching of these two provide the operators with a matrix of changeable cards, thus eliminating the operators the action of long-time exposure to the heat, to the dust, and also the unergonomic way of monitoring it and looking it personally standing over there. This is done in-house. Another important measurement is measuring the sagging and the hogging. Hogging means we call it as the board shape of the pellet cards. One of the, I think Savala Sahab talked about it. If you measure, how do you identify it? Because a long chain of around 300 pellet cards, and it takes a long time to monitor it. Man vision is replaced by a machine vision, and fundamentally with artificial intelligence, the image processing algorithms are run on a real-time basis to identify the sag and the hog cards. This system provides visualization to the operators for sag and hog card identification, and finally the correction part. The damaged car which we have identified need to be replaced, right? And this is definitely non-productive work, because we lose production because of this. The reduction in the changing time improves the productivity, and therefore we have initiated an auto positioning of the identified car in the right position in the right time, so that the change can happen instantaneously. Post the systemic detection by the above system that we had, that I displayed to you, the identification and thereafter, once the confirmation from the operator is ensured, the entire chain of cards stops in a particular position in the card changing station, so that the pellet card can be moved out. And this saves times. And as of now, we have moved from a much higher time to change to roughly 4 to 5 minutes. This is a unique thing which we have developed in-house, purely in-house. We have talked about quality. We talked about CCS, the cold crushing strength. But all of us know it is basically spot sample. We do it every 1 hour, 2 years, depending upon our sample analysis. This is the machine that we have devised, and it is an online measurement. We do it, and therefore the sampling from the belts, the screening to the right size, the positioning of the cam management, the braking activity, the recording of the readings, the disposal of the broken pellets into subsequent belts, and the availability data in front of the control room, everything is manless. It is in full auto mode. And therefore, you can see all the data, and in fact, the trend that you can see, there is no break. It is a continuous data. It is not a spot 1 hour, 2 hours average. Thus, I conclude that the positive impact of pellets on blast furnace operations, efficiency and stability, and the output quality is definitely established as of now. The adverse quality of high alumina, which is evident in sinter, is not there in pellet. Therefore, you should use more and more pellets. With the usage of iron-bearing material and the carbon-bearing reverts from the steel plant, the pelletization operation is much more sustainable as of now. The transportability, the stackability, and the storability of pellets is unmatched. All of us know about it. And looking forward, as you stabilize, as you grow big, the digital initiatives, the automation, the mechanization will help to stabilize the process further, to improve the process, make it more sustainable, agglomeration technology, to serve to the blast furnace community and overall for the growth of the nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Indrajit Paul. I'm really delighted. I'm sure a lot of our participants would have enjoyed. I just saw a comment from JSPL pellet plant head, Mr. Brij Bhadra. He says it's an eye-opener presentation. Really, and Tata Steel is not only, I remember when I was just joined SAIL, the Tata Steel used to say, we also make steel. But now I'll say Mr. Indrajit Paul type of people, they also open up. This is the beauty of technology. Like he has told about 3 technologies which are being done, like the DISCOM he mentioned, the innovation about green ball layering profile, the pallet car automation. So all these are digitization methods, and I'm grateful, Indrajit, that you touched upon these, even though I know these are confidential in that sense that it is your initiative of Tata Steel. But this is where our Ministry of Science and Technology used to say, somewhere we should have a horizontal transfer of technology. So Mr. Indrajit Paul has epitomized this thing by sharing all his digitization innovation. Thank you, sir. We are grateful.
In fact, Bhatnagar sir, just to tell you all the digitalization initiative that we have done, so it is basically totally in-house. Therefore, the in-house talent is there with us, and because of this, the horizontal deployment of these technologies, because as we will be initiating our next pellet plant in Kalinganagar, 6 million tons sometime later in this year. So all this learning from this particular pellet plant, all this automation, mechanization, and installation, all will move to there. Because basic talent is in-house, the design is in-house. Therefore, we can change, you can modify, you can tweak. So things are available with us. I'm sure we will be happy to collaborate. If anybody is interested, we can come together and help each other in this initiative. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity.
Fantastic, fantastic. Even though I'm not a political guy, but you've epitomized that Atmanirbhar Bharat concept, which our PM says, like all these technologies you have developed in-house. Yes. You have not imported these technologies. Thank you very much, and